Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Girls Run These Worlds. You have joined us for the grand finale of Freezerburnt, our Masks a New Generation limited series. We set off at the beginning of this journey with the Defrigerators, a group of 4 heroes who are all grappling with the effects of being fridged somewhere in their backstory, which, if you're not familiar with that old comic book trope, means that all of our heroes had once upon a time ended up injured, depowered, or otherwise sidelined in order to promote someone else's character development. But now, as we draw this story to a close, we've watched as Reyna started teaching herself to be a hero to avoid the doom that awaited her as a villain in the future, who, with the help of their team of friends, faced down those who believed she'd only ever be evil, and who found out the truth, or at least part of it, about their soulmate Adon along the way. We've watched Stacy, who once literally died so others could get their hands on the formula that eventually brought her back to life and made her a superhero, become the heart of the group, the moral compass, while struggling with her own feelings that she didn't belong, and with the shadow of their ex Leah, who is wrapped up in some sort of maldoings with Typhon Pharmaceuticals, the very company that brought Stacy down in the first place. We've watched as Lee, whose superhero family pretends to all the world that they're dead and buried under a name not their own, choose to be a hero, even if it meant drawing their family's ire, to constantly defend the team from those who doubt them, and even to strike up an unexpected romance with High Noon, the leader of a rival hero team. We've watched Alice, who started off so guarded, so jaded by the betrayal that brought about her fridging that she wouldn't even share her name and face with the team, finally begin to open up, only to be attacked once again by that same one-time best friend who betrayed her, Kieran, aka On the Mark, in the service of some plan, some machination involving the believed dead hero Middleman, a plan that the team still doesn't fully understand. This team, they are developing as heroes in their own right, all right, which is what we thought they'd be doing all along. And now it's time for them to decide where their stories will go next. I'm Allie. I'm your GM, running us through this system brought to us by Magpie Games. Anita, would you start off by introducing yourself and your character? Tell us something you loved. Could be from last time. Could also be, something from the whole series, or something that you're looking forward to now.
Hi, everybody. I'm in a bubble and I'm so nervous. My name is Anita. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. Tonight I will be playing Stacy Jane, who uses she, her pronouns. Um, Character alias, Stacy goes by Coldcock, I guess. She she mostly just uses her name. She's really bad at the secret identity stuff. Her character playbook is the bull. And oh boy. Um, Emily's gonna hurt us so good. I already know it. Um, so we're just gonna vibe with that. And with that, I will stop talking and pass it on to oh gosh, somebody that's just going through a rough time right now. Um,
That could be anyone.
you know, that's so true. But Mateo, would you like to take the stage?
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Mateo, she, her, playing Witch, aka Alice Fox, also she, her. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing how we get out of this pickle, and seeing how well our young developing minds come out of it. Um, yeah, just existential dread. I'll pass that on to Alice.
Yeah, existential dread. We're all very close right now. Um, but hi guys, I'm Alice, she, they pronouns, and I am playing Lee Daring. They, them pronouns. Lee is also known as Carrion, and they are the delinquent for the group. Um, Honestly, I've just enjoyed the fact that we the entire team finally came together last episode and so many ways, and it's exciting, right in time for Allie, I'm sure, to kill us all again. Um, yeah, who knows? Who knows where we're gonna end up tonight? Um, but for the last time, I'm going to pass it over to Diana.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I go by Diana Moon online. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Morena Reina de la Calavera, which I always mispronounce my own last name. Doesn't matter. They use she, they pronouns, and am the doomed playbook, possibly for the last time. We don't know, maybe. Lots of interesting things happened last session. I of course, will be selfish and I love all of last session, but I guess my favorite bit is, um, Adon, our current Adon, not knowing what the hell is going on, but still was like, hey, I think I'd still like you despite everything. And I would never betray you. And that did it. That was my favorite bit. I am looking forward to the favorite bits we'll get of everybody this session. So back to our lovely, lovely comic book writer, Allie.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Well, before we begin today's issue, I want to put forward a trigger warning in this particular episode for dead naming and misgendering. Just please be aware for your safety and comfort that that's a topic that we'll be covering. And with that, our issue begins by, in classic comic book fashion, repeating the last couple of panels from last time. On the mark, throwing a black orb towards the defrigerators and shooting it. The air around the defrigerators imploding when he does this, and the floor beneath you collapsing as well, sending you all plummeting through to the basement. On the mark walks away, saying into a communicator, middleman, it's on the mark, target's delayed, and I'm on the move. Our next panel is a full page splash that shows you four. You're encased in sort of like a translucent, buzzing bubble of some kind of dark black energy. You are in a dimly lit room filled with knocked over filing cabinets and rubble that came down from the ceiling when you crashed through. You've all had the wind knocked out of you from the fall. Maybe you've got a couple bruises as well, just from getting jostled around. But you can all stand up all right. There's at least enough room in the bubble for you all to fit shoulder to shoulder, mostly comfortably. What do you all do?
Oh man.
Is this the fucking guy witch?
Which is on the ground, curled up, like full on sobbing, going, I don't want to die, please. I don't want to, please. Just full on panic.
I think immediately, maybe surprising some people or the readers, Reina will immediately like crouch down and like, it's okay, and like try to like very tentatively like rub their back and be like, you're not going to die. We're not going to let that happen. It's not in the future. You didn't see those in the future, right?
Yeah, amazing. Yes. Could you roll to comfort or support? Because that's definitely what this feels like.
Yes. And I put away my die, so give me a second because I totally
Oh,
forgot.
good.
I was so prepared today. All right, die. Be good to me. Or no. Please tell me I have a 2 in my mundane. Where's my
We have team.
You do have team.
That's true. That is a 4.
That's a 4. All right, great.
Yeah. Yay, potential.
Yay, potential. Go ahead and mark your potential. I don't think any amount of team is gonna save that, really. But yeah, so which I'll throw it to you. You're being comforted, but obviously it's not really getting through. Is there any change in Witch's demeanor at all when Reina tries to help?
Probably not. I think she's just kind of catatonic right now, just like not really aware of what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stacy, what are you up to?
I think at first Stacy was like sort of looking at the bubble because this is a weird thing that Stacy like hasn't seen before, and it's also just like processing the shock of, oh, wait, this is the person that hurt Alice, and they were also like eavesdropping on, and I think she's like feeling herself like well up with some righteous anger before like turning back and seeing, oh, fetal position. And I think she's going to go down sort of like retrieve witch's mask uh and sort of try to bend down, try to like um return the mask to the face because like I think that Stacy remembers that like things happen when the eyes are out and like powers shoot out of it and it's harder for her to control. She's gonna try to like return that mask to like help you come back to yourself. Um and just like try to sit and like make the space quiet. Um,
Yeah. Do you think that your act of like returning the mask, is this Stacy also trying to provide comfort or support?
that's the plan, Stan.
Great. Why don't you roll plus mundane, see if we have any luck on this roll.
Okay, I'm a friend. I'm normal. I can do
So normal.
this.
So normal.
You're
All
the most
right.
emotionally adjusted out of all of us.
If that's the truth, that is a very sad fact, but you might be right.
We rolled an 8 on the die, bestie.
Ooh,
We got a +2 to mundane and then a
yes.
+1 because I got influence over witch, so that's an 11.
Amazing. All right. So that means that's a hit. That means that they hear you. So which you can mark potential, clear a condition, or shift labels if you're going to open up. And then also Stacy, you can clear a condition or add a team to the pool for yourself.
So I'll clear a condition, I think. And with that successful comfort or support roll, because I'm a friendable, I get a potential. And with
Nice.
that potential, I get a level up.
Ooh.
And I think Stacy is going to rearrange labels as she chooses.
Great.
And I think she's going to sort of one like look to Witch, like just how does Witch respond to the mask coming on? Like Stacy probably like sitting down next to her and putting a hand on her knee. What's the vibes, Witch?
She'll probably like calm down a little bit and like look up to Stacy and be like, he's come to finish the job. I won't let him.
They won't let him.
We're gonna kill him first. Don't worry. At this point, I'm ready to like just tear something out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Lee. So you've got, Raina and Stacy are kind of crouched. And sorry, Stacy or Witch, did you have anything you need to finish up? Which, are you clear in condition? Are you
I'm gonna mark potential, and it also gives me a level up, and I will save it. I'll hold
Well,
it.
nice. Amazing. So yeah, Lee, obviously you just offered words of comfort. Stacy and Raina are kind of like down sort of on Alice's level. What is it that you're doing right now? Stuck trapped in this little bubble.
Lee is not as good at the touchy-feely comfort emotions, probably as Stacy and Marina are. So Lee has probably been like hitting the bubble, probably trying to exert like just some of their psychic power to like try and burst it. Probably in like the form of like a little knife or something.
Sure. Yeah. So, Lee, what you experience as you're kind of like hitting at this bubble, it's probably not evident for the first couple of hits, but after, 4, 5, 6, every time you hit this bubble, your powers start to feel just a smidgen less powerful. Like your psychic constructs sort of start to flicker in the air as they make repeated contact with this strange sort of semi-translucent buzzing substance, whatever it is.
Okay, this is some fucking bullshit. Alice, which I'm not sure what you want us to call you right now, but what the fuck does this guy actually do?
I um I don't know about this. This isn't his, as far as I know.
Great, because everyone be careful. I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct, but I think this shit is zapping powers and it's probably what's draining everyone in some form.
I think yeah, I think Stacy's gonna like sort of stand um and just sort of say, we sort of opened up to each other there for a second. I've never seen y'all talk so much outside of group or inside of group or ever. And thank you for trusting us with that. We're going to get out of this bubble and we're going to kick some ass before middleman or on the mark or anyone can hurt more people.
Yeah, exactly. I took a doom sign dark visions. I would like to use it now to see how to get us out of the situation.
Ooh, I love that. All right. So is there a role associated with that, or is
No,
that
I just
just
marked the doom track to have a vision about the
great?
situation at hand.
Amazing. Wow, love that. Great. So what does this look like when you're accessing these kind of like dark, like how does this appear for Raina? Is Raina kind of like retreating into themselves, or what happens?
Yeah, I think they took a step back away from which, because like oh, I didn't help. So but like still nearby in case. And so I think as mentioned, like I think only in the first issue, Reina, when they regressed back into this body, they received like some like tattoos along their eyes that kind of mostly is invisible but does kind of glow when they use their powers. And I think so that's glowing right now, and their eyes kind of just glow a little bit more. As they're in their mind, they're just searching. I'm going to use a really old ass reference, a Rolodex.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
um, to
That's
like,
great.
yeah, to like be like, okay, what sort of similar to like the Harbinger, what do I know about this future? Like, what do I know possibly of like this kind of bubble? How can we get out without hurting ourselves? Is the question I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Rolodex is an interesting thing to use because you're in the basement of the Halcyon City archives. That's where this confrontation took place. So all these filing cabinets that surround you, most of them just like sent out papers, flying when you crashed through. But this is Halcyon City we're talking about. And so the archives also contain any number of like wild, super not like super high tech, like super technologies or anything like that, but there's definitely like there are records kept here of certain materials and things like that. And as you're going into this sort of like mental Rolodex, kind of trying to find out like, okay, what's the way out of this situation, you like access for a moment a future where it actually sort of looks you maybe go to a part of the future where this room is actually a little bit less destroyed than it is right now, but you can see that if one of the filing cabinets that fell over and like spilled out has like a couple of small bags of like soil samples that have a little bit of a glowing something, and those are now like underneath your feet in the bubble, and you don't know the significance of them as you're looking through, but you know that your mind took you there for a reason. And so you could see that they were in a file cabinet. That file cabinet is now spilled over. So theoretically, whatever these small baggies are, they're somewhere in the ground around your feet right now.
Okay. Yeah. So I think like I just kind of like shudder a bit as I come out of that, and it's like there's more of might be meteor dust, moon dust. There's like baggy samples underneath us that might help somehow.
Teo. Not Teo. Fuck. You have so many names. We all have so many names. Which do you still have the pink camera?
Oh, yeah. Takes it out of her pocket, hands it to
Can we see outside of the bubble?
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
like cloudy, like it's like you're looking through smoke, but you can see. Yes.
I'll try to like take some photos, see if there's any moon dust or halcyon or
Yes.
anything.
You find that there's a little bit of halcyonium in an area right underneath Raina's, like, what kind of shoes does Raina wear? Like, what's the typical?
They're they're kind of like goth boots, but they look like mariachi boots, and it's not as chunky, but still very comfortable to give her like
I
a bit
love
of
that.
height. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So right underneath Raina's heel, like the heel of Raina's super cool boots, is like a little, there's a couple of pieces of paper, and then there's like a little bag of some sort of dust. And it's accessible. It's within the bubble with you.
Do I know anything with my sciencey brain about how we can use like sort of the halcyonium to like break the bubble? Is that a possible thing that can happen? Or is this more just like
I think that you imagine that this bubble might have similar properties to halcyonium, and if that's the case, you might be able to use the halcyonium samples to manipulate it.
um I'll reach down and just try to press it up against the bubble and see if it reacts in any way.
Yeah. It will Raina, when you notice this, will you pick one up and start doing kind of a similar thing yourself?
Yeah, I'll use my psychic constructs to pick it up because I don't know where this is from. I don't need extra powers. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So between your psychic constructs, Raina, and Stacey, what you're doing, kind of like touching it, as it goes against the bubble, it makes only like the tiniest tiny gap, but like when you touch it, it almost like magnets repelling, like putting the halcyonium near it, like makes it kind of like boom out just for a second, leaving a little gap in the bubble, like like the whatever substance the bubble is made of doesn't want to be near the halcyonium.
Vibes. I think, yeah, Stacy has a plan. The plan is to rip the bubble open. Like, so like make a small hole, then use that like as a hold to
Oh,
like
sure.
get it open far enough for everybody to get out. Um, she would ask for like y'all to gather up as much halcyonium as we can like muster and like put it in one space so we can get that hold and try the thing.
Yeah, I think it it doesn't even take the effort of you needing to like pull. It's a small hole, but it's enough for you all to be able to get through it. Especially because Raina, if you're using your psychic constructs, you can kind of like spread the dust around in a way that you couldn't if you were just using your hands. And you form like a small window you can get out of this bubble. I'm guessing no one's inclined to stay in it for a moment longer than we need to.
No.
Yeah. So okay. Yes.
I would
Lee.
say if there's like halcyonium, if we know that these bubbles are a thing that they can make, if there's like enough halcyonium, I just want to like gather some up potentially and like stick it in a pocket.
Yeah. You could definitely do that. Yeah. Honestly, there's enough that each of you could have like one of these small soil sample size bags. There's not a ton, but it's enough that you can have some. All right, so as you all are clambering out of this bubble, like pretty much as soon as you leave, which your phone starts to ring. And you can see that it's the number is Liam McKay's.
Pick it up.
You hear Liam just immediately start talking on the other line, and says, hey kid, can you you doing all right? Can you put me on speaker?
Yeah, speaker. What's up?
And he says, I'm here with Lenore. She has something. Well, we go ahead, Lenore. And Lenore kind of jumps in and says, hey, so I know that there was something that I was trying to figure out earlier, and Liam helped me piece it together. I never went to see the meteorite, at least not by myself, but I know who did. It was Middleman. He was super protective of his secret identity. So anytime he needed to put a name down for something or sign a waiver or an NDA, he used mine, which makes me sound colossally stupid now, I know, but we were going to get married. He was a hero. But he was Middleman. That's the only thing that I can think.
Yeah, he's also alive, Lenore.
Yeah.
What?
He just kind of sent someone to put us in a bubble.
Oh my God. Are you okay? Should we go? Do you need help?
We're out now. But
Liam will say, look, I don't know if this helps or not, but there's more about Middleman. When Lenore and I were talking about it, I cross-checked some news reports from around the time that he visited the meteorite. Nothing too interesting, but get this. The day after he visited it, totally out of the blue, he announced a lucrative sponsorship kind of thing. Biggest Halcyon City's ever seen, in partnership with Peak Pro Activewear. It doesn't sound like anything, right? Doesn't sound like a big deal until you check. Peak Pro is a division of Clothtex, which itself is a subsidiary of the Raptor Group. Do you know who the Raptor Group also owns?
No.
Typhon Pharmaceuticals. And if you had to guess which one building in Halcyon City started lighting up bright yellow and blue about half an hour ago and no one can figure out why, it's Typhon Tower. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I have to think that it's something to do with everything you've been looking into.
Okay. Well, you two should stay put. Um, good job. I think me and the defrigerators are gonna go put an end to this, I guess.
Lenore gets on the phone and she says, you I have so much faith in you. I hope you know that, but you're going to need backup. I mean, if this has something to do with Middleman, I mean, you all are great, but he's a fully fledged, very powerful hero. And if he did something, if he you're gonna need some help. You're gonna need backup.
I have some friends in mind. Um, Lee, can you bring them up?
Don't
Yeah.
tell me. We're actually gonna ask for them.
I mean, to be fair, Stacy, your ex has some ties to Typhon, doesn't she?
Um, ties to Typhon, yeah, but I have ties to Typhon. They, well, I have suspicions that more than one of the people in that company tried to murder me the first time. Um,
Yeah, but if she's got any good favor in with them, we might actually have to ask for her help.
she doesn't actually have any good favor anymore. That's a recent development. But there are a lot of people that Middleman's kind of pissed off.
Liam, go ahead.
You still have access to that villain group chat, right?
I may not have gotten rid of all of that contact information, no. And you're still in good with Emerita, based on your fancy cameras you guys have been toting around.
Um, I think the fancy cameras are the most that she's gonna help out with this.
Um, Liam says, "Look, I don't know how you got access to it, but if you can round up some villains to help you out and you trust them not to, I don't know, go wild and get you all caught up in something dangerous, seems like a group that would want to do something against Middleman. I'm gonna keep Lenore safe, but please keep in touch, all right?"
All right. Thank you, Liam.
Do you think it's too early to text a Dawn back?
It's just like doing this whole time. Raina's just been doing the mental calculations. Like, great, yeah. So Liam will hang up as you all kind of figure out your logistics here.
So,
Yeah, Lee is just gonna like take out their phone and like just start scrolling through all of the emails that they have probably amassed. And while they're doing that, they are gonna look at Witch like, you haven't said a lot about your private life. Is that your dad?
Liam McKay? God,
He
no.
sounds like your dad.
He's not. He he's just some guy that my parents hired to. He's a private investigator. They didn't think I was dead, I guess.
He seems to be worried about you a lot more than a private investigator would be.
Maybe I don't know.
This is too much for Witch.
We have a cavalry to call in, for lack of a better term. So why don't we send them the message and head over and see what we can find out about what's going on at Typhon.
Great. So I imagine, so will everyone kind of take a minute? So Lee, are you sending like a mass email to the villain email thread that you've, okay, great. What is it that you're what bubbles do we see Lee like typing in their phone? What's the sneak preview?
There's probably like, you have no idea who I am. I have no interest in being here longer than I need to be. There's trouble. The reason people are getting killed is middleman. And then it's just, you said Raptor, it's the Raptor building or the Typhon
Raptor
building?
group. It's the Typhon building. Yeah. Typhon Tower.
And yeah, just Typhon Tower, middleman's behind this. He's the reason why so many people are going down.
Amazing. All right. And where did Raina land on the issue of is it too soon to text a Don?
I think Stacy definitely would have said, if he's up for it, the more the merrier.
Yeah, I think they can help, but even though it's been like 45 minutes since like he left, it's like, right, hey, you up? Because this can help themselves as being not smooth like they think they can be,
Yeah.
And then like before getting responses, being like, if you want to, kick some ass and take some names, maybe meet us at and what the address and everything.
Okay, great.
And such.
Amazing. And did someone contact Solstice? Is my other question.
Did Lee and Stacy just have like the stare down for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I think.
Yeah, Raina definitely didn't.
Yeah. I think Stacy sort of like went over to Witch, and just says, hey, you okay? You up for this?
I've been preparing for this for the last 2 years. And when I thought I would finally be ready, I wasn't. And, I'm probably still not, but I think this is a little bigger than us. So I kind of have to be.
She holds herself back from like just coming in to hug you, because that probably isn't appropriate for this time right now. And she'll say, I trust you. And the team trusts you too. We'll have your back.
Thank you.
And I guess she doesn't have a phone, so I guess she'll be like,
I think Lee just kind of watches this and assumes that it's Stacy's way of not contacting her ex.
Yeah,
and
I think I'll like ask Lee to just, you don't have to say much to them, just be like, send the address. If they show, then they show. If not, I'm not super mad at it.
The way that this has become like organizing a group hang, like who's all gonna be there? Like it's just like,
what are we wearing? Weird. What's the
mood? Excellent.
Oh, and make sure that like when you send them the address, like make sure that they know a bunch of villains are going to be there, but like middleman is going to be the bad guy. You know, this is going to be complicated. Should
Yeah.
we invite Solstice?
Getting the gang together to go fight evil.
I mean, Solstice might not entirely be a problem, but yeah.
Well, let's see if
I'm
they
gonna-
live up to, you know, the hype of Solstice. They always come in after. Let's see them in action for once.
Yeah, Lee is just gonna like text like Embry, like, hey, what you doing? I know that you're probably not 100% ready to like completely trust me. It's been one date, but how do you feel about going to do something that'll probably make the mayor really mad? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
You get immediately back sounds gay, I'm in. And then just like a address question mark.
Yeah, just they're gonna shoot like the Typhon building address.
Great.
FYI, this is gonna be a big thing. Target middleman.
Yeah. For that, you get like a bunch of question marks in response. You know, everyone's phones are blowing up. But you seem to have at least mostly contacted everyone that you needed to. And as you're kind of like wrapping up your messages, everyone's kind of getting up. You hear from the street outside where it's pretty late at night at this point, but you can hear the pretty audible sound of like a car horn, like beep 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 from the street outside.
Did someone call an Uber?
Let's go find out what it is.
Great. So the next panel shows you all kind of like leaving this partially destroyed building. Like the outside still looks mostly fine, but the inside is definitely messed up at this point. You open the door, and you can see street is pretty much deserted at this point, except for this car that's idling on the curb. It's like an old kind of like beat up red sedan, you know. There's a bunch of bumper stickers on the back, and the license plate is GO space FLCNS. And you see leaning through the window is your friendly receptionist, friendly robotics lab receptionist Josh, who says, oh hey, I got an email that I should come to this address and not ask too many questions.
Josh, what are you doing
Hey,
here?
yeah, I'm Josh. Go Falcons. Yeah, I don't know. I got an email from it was from a haltech.edu email address, but I don't know who. It was just kind of a bunch of weird symbols at the beginning, but it said, go to the Halcyon City Archives, pick up the people who are waiting there, take them where they want to go, and don't ask any questions. So here I am.
Okay.
Perfect, Josh.
You're
Like,
awesome.
Stacy is going to like reach down for her camera and just like send out a silent thank you to the professor. And
I think as you look down at the camera, which you did some analysis on when you were looking at it, you remember that you saw something that you couldn't tell if it was turned on or not. Kind of looked like a GPS tracking chip when you were taking it apart. Yeah, your silent thank you goes up, and Josh kind of like reaches over, opens the door, and he's like, you can just kick all that to the ground, you know, but come on in.
Let's God, yeah.
We're gonna load into the
best
Falcon
ally. Let's go, Josh. We hop into the Falcon Mobile.
Yeah, so there's a couple panels of so Josh kind of like pulls away, you know, very safe driver, Josh. And he's sort of just like not picking up the vibe of the group at all. Will just sort of be like, you folks you kind of look familiar. Do you go to Haltech or are
Josh, this
you?
is the time where we put the pedal to the metal. Like, we ignore the traffic laws. We just go as quickly as possible.
Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, for real?
Yeah. Oh, for
Oh, for
real.
real? Okay.
For real.
And then Josh literally floors it. Like he like was in the middle of making like a very clearly designated blinkers on turn, and like before the turn even finishes, slams down on the accelerator. Like the car like half fishtails out, but like he re-gets control of it, and then he's riding up on curves, like he's moving into the other lane. Like again, no questions asked. Josh is just like kind of maneuvering his way through the city. Typhon Tower is located in the Nest, which is Halcyon City's kind of like affectionate name for the ring of skyscrapers that surrounds the 30 acres of Passerine Park. So it's in really like the heart of the city. There's a good amount of traffic on your way there, but Josh is getting you through it as best as he can. As you approach the Nest, the commotion, whatever it is, at Typhon Tower becomes a lot more obvious. You can see that the tower itself, which is, it's this very like monolithic, like square building. It's got a couple near the top of it. It's got almost like steps, sort of in the side of the building to make like something slightly interesting on the edifice, but mostly it's just like big, sleek metal skyscraper building. And as you get closer, you can see the building, like there are lights coming from the top of it, like the whole thing is like illuminated. And you can also see, especially when you get to the point where you're like, 5-6 blocks away, people have stopped like in the street to see what's going on. Like people have parked their cars, have like opened the doors, are looking off to the side of the road. People who are walking by have kind of started to gather. You get to a point where even Josh's driving skills can't get you any further in a car. And he'll sort of turn around at all of you and be like, I think this is where the Falcon Express takes its last stop, folks.
Thanks for everything, Josh.
I'm
Go
sure
Falcons.
you're going to get an A on all of your classes somehow this semester.
Yeah, go Falcons. And again, like, do I know you all, or like, is there, because I'm
You're my role
confused.
model, Josh. I want to be you when I
Okay.
grow up.
Yeah, cool. Go Falcons.
Go Falcons.
And he'll just let you out of the car. You all are now in the heart of Halcyon City. There are lots of crowds. You've got 5 blocks to go before you're in front of Typhon Tower proper. What's the plan?
Go in, kick butt, stop the plan.
Beat down
Good
off the
plan?
mark. On the mark.
Kill him.
How do you feel about that, Witch?
I'm a little surprised. You're usually not the go in, get out type.
I
Right.
think you are not in a emotionally sound place to kill an ex-best friend at this moment.
Which doesn't have to. That's what
Yeah.
Lee and I are here for. Remember, I can do one last villainous act before I turn 100% good. It's all good. We saw the pictures.
It's just fair trade. He tried to kill Witch. We actually kill him.
Let's slow down. We should probably take a moment to figure out what exactly they're doing before we go and kick their asses. But we do a little recon, then we can go kick their asses.
I am going to ask, this is kind of a new fight against a new dangerous foe. Who do we feel like the leader is going into this particular interaction?
I feel like Witch just kind of like stood up for herself. That's taking charge of this plan. So Lee would look to her.
Which, yeah, seeing some nods.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Which do you have influence over every teammate?
I don't actually think I do. No, I don't.
Okay. Do we feel like everyone has generally the same purpose in the fight? Obviously, the specifics of, you know, who's getting killed and who's not getting killed seem to be a little bit off. But generally, do we feel like we've got the same purpose?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to end
Yeah,
all this
okay.
bullshit that's been happening.
End the bullshit. Yeah, that's a pretty good purpose. All right. Does anyone mistrust Witch/Alice?
Nope.
All right. Great. That is 4 team in the pool. And got 4. And okay, so you are you've kind of gathered. Are you just kind of like moving through the crowd at speed, like sort of as fast as you can? Are you trying to find a particular route to head to the tower? This is like pretty densely packed city streets, so it's not like there's lots of like alleyways to duck down or anything like that. Like what you're surrounded by is mostly like skyscrapers. But you also there is like kind of like a big park nearby that is like a slightly more covered location as well. Although, it's like the Central Park equivalent, so there's still going to be people around. What's the plan?
Is the commotion happening inside the tower or around the tower?
It seems like it's around the tower.
Okay. I'm gonna say let's get to a vantage point where we can try and see what's going on and then wait for our backup to show up and maybe find out like what exactly their plan is before rushing in.
Okay, great.
Maybe any plans.
Yeah, we didn't give them a lot to plan on.
But it seems like starting by looking for a vantage point. So maybe getting to like the top of a nearby skyscraper or something like that, or high up it, even if you're not getting to the top. Sounds like the deal. Cool. Okay. So you move a couple blocks ahead. There is you end up in front of like the you end up in front of a building that is like it's one of the big kind of like faceless bank buildings in this downtown area. And you like can see that because it's right in front of the park, and it's got an angle on Typhon Tower. If you ascend to any of the sort of like patio areas up it or all the way to the top, you'll have a pretty good vantage point of what's going on if you climb up, if you make your way up this building. What do you do?
Want to head up?
Up the fire escape, I imagine.
Fire escape? Yeah. All right, so you all kind of head up the fire escape. This is definitely quite the workout, because this is, many stories. But you're heroes, you're managing it. You end up kind of on there's sort of like there's multiple tiers to this building. You end up on sort of like the middle one. You're able to get out onto it's clearly like it's like a patio where you might step out in the middle of the day to smoke or like grab lunch or something. There's a couple picnic benches, nothing super fancy, but you can see here you have a pretty clear view of Typhon Tower, and honestly what's going on looks more akin to like a actual like produced light show than anything else. Like there are like lasers and those big like beamy skylights that are sort of like crossing in the air, and it's all like changing and pulsing in color, and none of the other buildings are lit up like this, but you don't see anyone or anything near Typhon at this particular moment in time. As you all are standing there, you hear a voice from above that just says, hey, there's something weird down. And a figure kind of like leaps down onto the terrace area where you all are standing, and says, I'm sorry, no one is supposed to be over here right now. It's probably, why don't you go inside? And if you turn around to look at this figure, it is a boy, a couple years older than you all, wearing kind of like a light blue suit with like a shield logo on it with a D. This is Orion Darling, Lee's biological brother, who does not appear to have any sort of recognition of all of you at this particular moment.
We're doing hero business. Move along. We got this.
I don't know what hero business you could be on, but I can assure you we have it handled.
Are you sure?
Who are we?
Mom, Dad, and two other figures descend from the terrace above this one, wearing matching uniforms. And this is a pretty famous hero team. So you recognize Darling Defender, who actually doesn't just leap down, but like flies down. And Darling Deer, who zips in. And they sort of like come down and they say, what is it, son? Oh. And Darling Defender's eyes fall on you, Lee, at the same time that Darling Deer's does. And Darling Deer says, oh, Ophelia. And immediately, Darling Defender puts his hand on her shoulder and looks directly into your eyes, Lee, and says, honey, you're confused. That's not Ophelia. That's some kind of vigilante squad member from one of those low-level Halcyon City hero gangs. And whoever they are, they know that the best thing for them to do is to turn around and leave this place. Find somewhere else to do whatever it is they're here to do. Right?
Lee has, like, when this started happening, had kind of like slunk back to the group, trying to take focus off of themselves, but also I think at that just kind of forces themselves to step forward, kind of like holds up their chin a little bit. Yeah, I'm not your kid, and my name is Kyrian, and my team is the one handling this right now. We don't need out of town superheroes messing with our city. And we're going to do our job.
The Darling Defender like kind of straightens a little bit, crosses his arms, and says, it is your city's mayor who asked us to be here. There's something very important going on at that building over there. I can assure you that whatever it is not something that you want to interrupt. You are in over your head.
Stacy would like to step in. Oh, no, go. You have things to say.
And you have no idea what is going on here. We're not here for the fucking mayor. We're here to protect people, which is more than I can say you have ever done without a camera in your fucking face.
Please roll to provoke someone.
Thea pierce the mask.
No, I was making sure I didn't have like any moves on this. Which that's a 6 and a 4, so plus that's a 12.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So, they are going to, I mean, they're going to rise to the bait to do what you want. Which, I mean, from your words, it sounded like you want them to back off from this situation, right?
At
Just
least from like from back off from what we're doing.
mhm.
Sure, if the mayor wants a good photo op, let him have one.
Yeah.
They can also keep staying out of my fucking business.
Yeah. This is what that's going to look like. I mean, you can tell that you saying the thing about a camera in their face actually seems to have shaken Darling Defender a bit. Like you have rarely noticed in when you live together, when you were part of the machine, you rarely notice anything even close to self-consciousness about that, but you see it now, like just briefly crossing his face. But then what he says is, honey, son, it's fine. Whatever they are going to do, I'm sure it's nothing that will interfere too much with our business. And they will sort of like take flight in the air and just kind of like push up off the ground and go back to where their vantage point was before. Darling Boy will super speed run right after. Darling Deer is left behind. And she is just kind of like eyeing you, her head's sort of tilted. And she is going to say, are you um are you sure you want to be doing this?
And Lee just looks down and kind of composes themselves. And their hands are probably shaking a little bit before they just kind of clench them together. And I haven't exactly had that choice before now. Didn't get a lot of my own choices in what I wanted to do. This is my choice. I'm going to help people. This is helping people, whether you see that or not.
Be careful. And then she will run off to join her husband and her son. You all remain on this rooftop.
I'm gonna look over to Lee and go, "You okay?"
Do you need a minute?
I think there's a time and place for everything, and I'm going to compartmentalize that until after we've dealt with this.
Well, hopefully we'll find some people for you to punch. That will help, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As this finishes up this interaction, and you could shortly after this, the trio who was on the terrace higher than you, they moved to another building a little bit after. They appear to be kind of like hopping around, a number of them. For the first time from the tower that you're watching, music starts to blare up, like theme music. And the lights strobe as well. Again, like more like a light show than anything else. And then appearing at the very top of Typhon Tower across the way is a figure. You can't really make out any specifics of it. They're this big from your vantage point. But wearing some sort of dark costume. And when the figure appears, the spotlights all move to this hero, and you hear from below, from the crowd that has formed around this building, just a massive cheer rise up. And very faintly, you can hear a voice say, as if magnified by a microphone, a really loud microphone, Halcyon City, you didn't think you could get rid of me that easy, could you? And a crowd of cheers goes up again. What do you all do?
Can I assess the situation?
Yeah, absolutely. You go ahead and roll to assess the situation. I'm guessing you're just kind of like trying to get a big overview of the whole scene.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Plus superior. That's 5.
Cool. Do you want to? Does anyone want to help? You could bump it up to a 7 if 2 people want to help, but then your team pool's drained to 2 if you do that. What do people think?
I'm willing to help. Yeah.
Okay.
I am livid. If there's a way that I can help in this situation, like I may be a little distracted, but yeah, how can I help? What are you looking for uh in this assessing the situation, Wedge?
I guess I'm just trying to look for like the best ways in, like a tactical way to go about this, like so we're not just obviously charging in and then like just getting pummeled right off the bat.
Question, because this might actually keep us from using up all of our team. Um, if I used like a supervillain's gear to hack into cameras and possibly find a vantage point, could we call that rule breaking or criminal activity?
Oh, that absolutely sounds like criminal activity. Yeah, like hacking into security cameras for sure.
Because I have the troublemaker move, which if I help a teammate through destructive criminal or rule breaking actions, I can give them a +2 instead of a +1 to spend on with team.
Amazing. All right. So yeah, so Raina and Stacy, your offers of help are appreciated, but we can use the glasses that you still have from Myopius's lair
Yeah.
to get a better angle on this. Awesome. I'm so excited about that. So yeah, so Carrion like pulls these out, like, and maybe you're fiddling around with your laptop or your phone or whatever, just trying to kind of like do a little bit of hacking. And once you do, you kind of activate these strange glasses enough that you are now switching through camera feeds from the surrounding buildings, the surrounding area. And as you do, I mean, you could see, you get one that's a really clear picture of this figure who is wearing a costume of form-fitting lycra that shows off kind of like a bodybuilding physique. There's a midriff which is covered in tattoos. This figure standing on the building is Middleman. Which your question basically like, what here can I use to get in there tactically or something like that? Is that the question you're trying to get the answer to?
I'm wondering if either that or like how could we best end this quickly would be better.
Uh-huh. Um, Honestly, I think they're going to have a pretty similar answer. So I'm just going to give you an answer. Um, there's probably no way to end this quickly. This is a big spectacle that's happening. However, if you go the Typhon Tower is like off of Passerine Park. So if you go through the park, which is a little darker, there's trees in cover, you might be able to get in through like a side door or something like that. You could get up to where Middleman is standing without, like most of the attention is on Middleman right now. So like that people aren't going to notice a group of what like seems to be teenagers just walking through a park. And if you're clever enough about it, you can probably get into the building itself without being seen too.
I'm gonna put forth two ideas. We can either sneak in and get up there and try and catch him by surprise, or probably a less wise option, we can beat him at his own game and make it a spectacle.
I mean, I think this is going to be a spectacle no matter what we do, considering we've got a very large number of supervillains potentially invading this place and another hero team. And I don't think we have ever been able to do anything quietly.
Um, whatever is happening right now.
Yeah.
I I trust you, and I don't want to waste time. What do you think we should do?
I think if we go in there and we go quietly and we catch him by surprise, I think a lot of other heroes might turn on us because no one really knows what's going on. But if we do exactly what he's doing, make an announcement, call him out, maybe we'll stand a chance and maybe it'll even catch him off guard a little bit.
Why don't we utilize? I don't particularly like them, and I'm not talking about the solstice. It's like looking at the others, but we do technically have our own fan club.
Okay. I think you have a point. I think we're going to make this a spectacle.
Um, does anybody have that person's number who keeps on writing about us? Like, I
Do we
Stacy
even
doesn't
need it?
like the
Yeah.
idea. Stacy visibly doesn't like the idea because every time this person has said things, they have been false things. It's bad journalism, but
I'll tell you something. You may not have her number, but Lupe Schaefer Santos's DMs are always open.
I'll take the hit, and I'll immediately start
Gonna
DMing.
slide
Okay.
into those DMs.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So I'm gonna Middleman at the top of this building is about to monologue. I'm going to tell you what he's saying, and then I'm going to ask what the panels look like underneath it as as he's building to something. But he basically starts. He activates. You can see the tattoos around his abdomen sort of start to kind of like shift a little bit, and he starts to levitate in the air. This is one of his known powers, is that he can. It's not really like flight. It's more just like he can control his center of gravity very well and use it to move around in the air. And he says, "The truth is, Halcyon City, I was dead there for a minute. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Halcyon City has a new supervillainess, Lenore Caldwell, or as I've come to call her, Nevermore. Nevermore was once good of heart, but when she fell victim to a plan of Myopius's, it changed her. Set her on a path to seek twisted revenge from anyone, hero or villain, who had ever caused a civilian any suffering at all. It is she who has been terrorizing the city. But though Nevermore fled from police custody today with the help of an accomplice, her reign of terror is on its way to a swift end. For I've recovered this. And he pulls out a weapon that sort of looks like, if you ever had as a kid, like an automatic slingshot, that's kind of what it's set up like. There's a glowing something locked and loaded in the sling. Most interestingly, though, Lee, you can see this as you're kind of flipping through the glasses. It is made of metal rings, the same material that made up Reyna and Adon's bracelets. He says, this ancient Protagoran weapon she used, fueled with halcyonium to take powers away from those she felt unworthy to have them, which was everyone, even if it meant they died in the process. And he hands off the weapon to someone who has come up next to him. This is on the mark, who is standing there looking, very proud and sure of himself. Middleman continues, but Nevermore failed to count for one thing. The noble scientists of Halcyon City, the good people of Typhon, and he gestures around to this building around, says they took a chance on an experimental serum that gave me all my powers back and my life back. And more, and something explodes from his midriff like a just light kind of beams all over the place. He becomes part of the light show, and the crowd explodes in cheers. And he says, "And I won't be stopped until this city is safe again." Another round of cheers. What do the panels look like showing off the Defrigerator's planning as he's going through this long monologue TED Talk speech that he's got going from the top of Typhon Tower? What's everyone up to?
I feel like we're like talking to Guadalupe, was that the name?
Yeah.
Trying to get like a city big screen hacked and a camera on us or something like that.
Amazing. Yeah. So Reyna, yeah, you're in the DMs, you're like making requests. Lupe's responding back right away. Typhon is just like one building along the nest around the side of the park. There's another building that is actually most of the time it's used as a stadium. It's got like it's where soccer and hockey and sometimes basketball get played all in one place. There's no one in there right now. But as we see, as this monologue goes on, you all kind of maneuver your way to the front of it. The Jumbotron that's outside of the stadium that it displays what's going on in the game for the people who are watching outside. You can see it's kind of like starting to sort of like boot up a little bit. And by the time Middleman sort of finishes his long speech and the rousing cheers go up, you are plopped in front of this stadium. Lupe Schaefer Santos isn't here, but one of her fans has come with, is holding just like a, sideways iPhone, like just like shakily recording it, just like comes up to you guys like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to meet you. Like I'm such a huge fan, whatever I can do to help. And this has been paired with the Jumbotron. You have the big screen. No one's paying attention to you yet, but it's big. It's right around the corner from this huge crowd of people. They'll definitely be able to see it. They'll definitely be able to hear it. What is it that you say once you're on the screen?
Before we like start rolling,
Yeah.
Witch is gonna look at Stacy and be like, "You want to give the speech?"
Ugh. Stacy's been like watching in horror at just this, yeah, this entire thing has been not great. We're at the center, like the base of the pharmaceutical company. She's never been here before. It's a lot, but Stacy will look to Witch, who's like asking for her help, and Stacy said that she had her back. So she's gonna do it. Um
Questions. Did Stacy go into detail about like the Typhon pharmaceuticals and like group meetings, or was it all mostly
went into detail about everything. You know about Typhon Pharmaceuticals. You know.
I want to say there's also probably a panel of just like a close up on Lee's face and the glasses and in like the reflection of the glasses. You see them like on their phone pulling up the Kingfisher post where supervillains have like died, all of the stuff about Typhon Pharmaceuticals, every piece of evidence like we have slowly been collecting, getting
Amazing.
ready to like blast that onto the Jumbotron as well.
I also kind of want to use, if it's possible, with psychic constructs to take some of those images and everything. We have the Jumbotron, but we also like want it like floating around in other place, like for everybody to see
Love
visually,
it.
you know?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you're using your powers to excellent effect. And you could definitely you can use your ability to sort of create things that are sort of floating about in the air that will go over the crowd and kind of be able to be seen by everyone, even if they don't have a direct view.
Yeah, I thank the doctor scientist for giving me the idea with the whole.
Yeah,
the
right.
only
You're
thing
like,
I'll attribute to
yeah,
him.
you're like, that was actually very effective. What a visually striking tableau. No, absolutely, that's great. Okay, so this fan, who has his phone up, will kind of be like, all right, everyone in position. All right, 3, 2, 1, and that's where we're gonna break. We will be back in 15 minutes to see what it is that the Defrigerators are going to make happen in their combination light show / showdown / epic final confrontation with Middleman. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. Get your water, get your meds, join us back in 15 minutes. Subscribe to the Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube, and we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. We have just left off with the beginning of the Jumbotron broadcast that the Defrigerators have organized to try to make a spectacle of themselves and disrupt Middleman Spectacle. And the panel that we come back in on is through the view of that little iPhone camera. We see Stacy, who is just kind of standing. I imagine that the other Defrigerators are sort of by Stacy's side, but others are sort of Reyna is sending, working on sending some sort of like attention-getting psychic constructs in the air. Lee and Alice are, looking around, making sure everything is going fine. But the camera starts up. There's a little bit of it's not like a feedback squeal, but there's a little bit of like a noticeable change in the air as the sound of this stream starts to echo through this area, this neighborhood called the Nest. Stacy, what do you say?
So Stacy's like visibly freaking out, right? Um, didn't really like doing like class presentations, like standing in front of class. And like usually like during group projects where people would have to talk, it would always be Aaliyah that like took the front and spoke to people, and Stacy would be like pressing the PowerPoint and like making it go forward. I think like being here, it is terrifying. And I think that Stacy sort of like at this moment of the mission is depending on her. Nobody else on the team can do it because nobody else on the team like is okay with being out in public and front facing. And I think she's going to unlock her moment of truth.
Yay.
So the bowl moment of truth reads, "This is what you do best. You let loose all the pent-up strength and rage and glee, and you break whatever stands in your way. You are a walking demolition crew. What can stand up to you? Nothing. Not buildings, not structures, not enemies, nothing. Of course, now the people who changed you know exactly where to find you." And I think she's not a politician. She's not media trained. She just knows mostly what she's learned about talking in front of people at Thaw. And that is just telling the truth. So she'll use her moment of truth to tell the truth. And say, Myopius, you're a jerk. Not Myopius, Middleman. Middleman. Myopius is dead. R.I.P. Myopius. Much respect. Would never talk
You
down
got
on
great taste in glasses.
Middleman, you're a jerk. We thought was special, thought was sacred. The place that you infiltrated to find your targets, to make this media spectacle for your grand unveiling was important to us. This company that you've partnered with stole from me, stole from my partner. That serum that you're talking about, it isn't yours. And it's also experimental and very dangerous, and no one should be putting it in their bodies. You've played with something dangerous when you just could have been looking out for the people around you. Lenore really loved you, man. And you hurt her. So we're gonna stop you. Because we're the defrigerators.
The guy from behind the camera goes, whoa, yeah. But as you're talking, Stacy, and honestly, Stacy, when you unlock this moment of truth within yourself, I think that it's your teammates who notice it first. Stacy's attitude looking into this camera goes from being so nervous to certainly still looking visibly nervous in a way, but like a fire unlocks in their eyes that you have seen when Stacy has, when Stacy rushed in to beat up Dr. Paris Shadows, when Stacy broke the parole ankle bracelet off of Emerita just to save her, so she could also save her life too. Like, that's the fire you see in Stacy as she starts to talk. And it's obvious to all of you, her teammates, how compelling this is. And Raina, as you're sending these kind of like constructs over the crowd, and as the rest of you, Lee, you've pulled up these statistics. Alice, you're kind of trying to keep everything, keep everything in frame, keep other people from encroaching on it. You can see that the stragglers, the people who are kind of on the end of where they could see Middleman's presentation, are like looking over at you and being like, wait, what is it they're saying? Something about Middleman stole? And people are moving away from Middleman's crowd and towards your own. People are coming out of the park and starting to surround you. It's a small group to begin with, but it's getting bigger.
And I think as like the fire starts like entering the eyes and like the nervous energy, you can feel Stacy is like getting incredibly tense. The last thing I want to do with this moment of truth is like jump from my building to their building. And I'm looking like I'm gonna go up and just Superman punch Middleman. But I would like to go past Middleman and Superman punch the new weapon that he's debuting.
Amazing.
For this, what are heroes doing with weapons anyway? Get a job. Sorry. Yeah. She would like to do that. You can tell me if that works.
Yeah, so I mean, so basically, like, you are a little bit a ways from Middleman. You're kind of like, you're on the same block, but your buildings are far enough apart. However, definitely with Stacy's like tension burst of energy, like, you can start heading over there, and you can like, you can be making your way through, like, there's definitely like a distraction rising up within the crowd that's like, hey, what's going on? What's happening over here? Middleman himself is kind of like looking over in your direction, being like, is someone saying something? You can, like, you are bounding up fire escapes, you are scaling the side of the building, you're using like the absolute utmost of your powers, unleashing your powers to do this. However, it's still enough of a distance that unless your teammate can provide a distraction, you are probably going to get stopped along the way. So that's my next question. As you all see Stacy start moving to do this, is anyone going to kind of like try to clear Stacy's path to getting to middleman to where this villain is in the hands of On the Mark? Or the weapon is in the hands of On the Mark.
Can I like do that by like smoke trail kind of trying to clear people away? Or
yeah, you can like you could definitely like basically you're trying to like visually obscure Stacy's like exact position as and also just like make sure that she's unimpeded by others who are coming in. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, you can do that. I think that that's well within the scope of Witch's powers. So Stacy, when you kind of like make your way up there, and it does take some time, but there's lots of between the smoke, between the constructs that are all around, between the hubbub of the crowd, it takes a bit, but you get there. I'm gonna have you though to punch out this weapon that's definitely gonna be directly engaging a threat because this weapon is currently in the hands of On the Mark, who is a marksman. That's what he does. So go ahead and roll plus danger because this is definitely a dangerous thing.
Vibes.
Could I help out a little bit as well?
Sure. Yeah. What
I-
is Lee doing to help out?
I would like to use my Are You Watching Closely move. So when you mislead, distract, or trick someone, roll plus superior. Because
Great.
what I want to do, I don't want this. Because Stacy's going after specifically middleman, the weapon, and On the Mark. I don't want this to be like big and flashy, but like on like the same, like the closest rooftop I could potentially throw an illusion at.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to like throw an illusion up of Lenore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, love it. Um,
Roll superior on a hit. They were fooled.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. Plus 10, choose 3, 7, and 9, 2. A for a 5 for a 9 plus superior, so 11.
Amazing.
So 3, I want to for specifically for Stacy, and void further entanglement. She also gets an opportunity.
Great.
And expose a weakness or flaw.
Amazing. All right. So let's do this. So definitely, Stacy, your opportunity is as you're directly engaging this threat, On the Mark has been thoroughly distracted by this thing. Like On the Mark is looking over at Lenore on the rooftop and just like, what the hell? And so you have, like a free and clear opportunity while you're directly engaging this threat. So go ahead and tell me what your role is, and I'll expose the weakness after we know what your role was, Stacy.
All right. I'm a bolt, so I can sort of move my danger up and any other label down when I charge into a fight without hedging my bets.
That sounds like
This is a bad bet. So I'm gonna do that. And that is a 9 on the die, and with the +1, that's a 10.
Amazing. So resist or avoid their blows, take something from them, create an opportunity for your allies, impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition. You can choose to.
I would, of course, like to take the weapon away from them, hopefully by pummeling it into 1,000 pieces. I think I would also like to impress, surprise, or frighten uh dude,
Middleman?
middleman
Yeah.
guy. Because you should feel bad about what you did. Like, yeah, she's gonna like look she's gonna like I think destroy the thing while making very clear eye contact with him as like she dashes past like the illusion of Lenore.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so here's what happens on your end. So uh Middleman is thoroughly surprised both by Lenore appearing on a rooftop and by you zooming past. You can see you've definitely surprised him because like he like throws his arms up and he's got kind of like a shield that forms from his midriff as well. He throws that up as you're passing, like clearly thinking that you are going for him. And like as you make eye contact, you can see definite like fear in his eyes. On the mark is holding up this slingshot thing. You pummel it. It explodes out of on the mark's hands and starts plummeting. It's not in pieces, but it is plummeting down the side of this skyscraper, at least 20 stories. Like it is plummeting to the ground. On the mark screams like no as it leaves his grip. But that does mean that you are opening yourself up to a blow. On the mark is going to pull out like a it is a clearly like a projectile shooting gun of some kind, and is going to shoot it out towards you. And you take like it's like a small like dark silver kind of charge that like hits you in the side, and just like a absolute like of heat starts to radiate from the side where you get this. Like you just feel like warmth, which to Stacy is just so painful and energy sapping, just starts to spread throughout your body. I'm gonna have you roll a powerful blow. You go ahead and do that roll while I'm gonna describe the weakness that has been exposed here. So the rest of you who are sort of like watching this, you can see that as you're like running into attack, there are people standing by, very just like suited, like armed guards, like not heroes, just or not appearing to be heroes, who immediately start like running and hustling into action. But right now, all of these people are going up towards Stacy. Lee, becomes very obvious to you as a weakness that they haven't really included the three of you as part of this fight right now. So now all of the attention is on Stacy in terms of defending Middleman and on the mark. Stacy, what's that face?
That face is the face of a 5, so I get potential and I stand strong.
Amazing.
But it's also the face of Stacy. What have you gotten yourself into this time? Please. But no, I think Stacy just like feels the heat and the warmth and is just like shocked by it and hurt by it, but is still anger focused on the guy that just bubbled all of her friends. And she sort of like wipes the like plasma energy of like heat off and flings it to the side. And just says, "You're a murderer. I'm gonna take you down."
Love it. All right. Let's check in with Witch and Kaida Reina and Carrion, who haven't yet gotten into this fight, but an opportunity is just open for you to potentially be a quite surprising addition to the events here. What are you three up to?
Looks like it's our turn to jump in.
Go
And
help
Lee
out.
looks for the kid that's recording. Keep it on the fight.
Is like, definitely like praise the cameraman, like is, like zooming, like just doing their best. All right.
So we're on a building and they're on another building, right?
Yeah, so I mean, so you all were basically like in front of a sports stadium, and they're a couple buildings down on the top of a skyscraper. But it's not, like you all are supers. You've already been up one set of fire escapes. It'll take you some time, but especially with your super abilities, you can get yourself into the fight just by charging in pretty quickly. And there's enough confusion and commotion going on right now that, like, if you do so, it's likely to be without anyone interfering too badly.
Um, if you two grab on, I can get us there quick, but I'm not so sure how well it will work.
Only the third time today I've done this.
Yeah. And that would help bolster with telekinesis to like get us so that's not so wobbly for poor witch.
Great.
So
This sounds like you'll be unleashing some of your powers a little bit, which is that the plan here?
yeah, gonna
Okay.
eye patch look towards the ground and try and like rocket
That's adorable. I
up
love it.
to the building. I gotta roll my
Amazing.
burn.
Go ahead and roll your burn. Love it.
What am I rolling for this? Is this unleash your powers?
Unleash your powers, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it's a hit or not. It's plus freak.
Yes.
Okay. That's 9.
Okay. So you can choose to mark a condition, or I'll tell you how the effect is unstable or temporary.
How's it unstable or temporary?
Great. So actually, because Rada, you already offered up, you're gonna be using your telekinesis. Um which you do this, you open up kind of like a stream of plasma comes out of your eyes that is enough energy to like rocket you off the ground. You have no steering control over this whatsoever. So I'm actually going to request an unleash your powers roll from Reina to see how well your telekinesis works to kind of, we're combining two very powerful super energies here to try to make this smooth.
Yeah, that is just barely a 7.
Just barely a 7. Okay, great. I mean, that's a hit. So I think that would you like to mark a condition, or should I tell you how your effect is unstable / temporary?
Let's mark it. I actually haven't been conditioned, so let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into that. What condition do you think you're gonna mark as you're kind of experiencing this sort of wobbly effect?
Probably let me double check it before I still say that. Yeah, probably insecure because it's like
Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing that happened last time is just like earlier today. Jesus, it's been a very long day for Reina.
It's been a long day.
Like they're not supposed to be a villain anymore. Everyone believes in them. We're now doing the hero things.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to actually do it? Kind of like,
Yeah.
is it going to come off that way and everything? So yeah, I think they are a little insecure right now, like following everybody else's lead.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely makes sense. But you do manage, you use your telekinesis to kind of like shape the path that you all are ending up on. And you land at the same level of, the top of this skyscraper where Stacy has just confronted on the mark, sent this weapon shattering to the ground. Middleman still has that shield up. Both Middleman and on the mark seem a little distracted by the Lenore figure. And you all have an opportunity. Tell me, give me how are you all like kind of throwing yourself into this fight? What's the first thing you do when you end up kind of on this level here?
I'm probably diving at on the mark because like Stacy's getting attacked.
Yeah. So you're kind of, are you more focused on engaging with on the mark or on defending Stacy from possible retribution by on the mark?
Defending Stacy, I think.
Great. I'll have you roll plus savior to defend someone from an immediate threat.
Okie dokie. 6.
6. All right. So that's a miss. Does anyone want to spend you still have 4 team. So if anyone wants to spend a team from the pool to move that up to a 7, that at least makes it a partial success. So Carrion or Kaida Reina, anything that you would do if you see this happening?
Yeah, I would definitely help. But so I know you're defending. How are you going to be defending? So I can figure out how to help.
Actually, now that I have some flares, actually, I can use this ability Moat. So I can spend 1 burn to create a barrier that will hold back threats as long as you keep your attention on it. And the GM may call for you to spend another burn if the barrier is threatened by particularly powerful enemies. So I'll spend 1 burn and I'll basically put like a wall of fire. I guess not, probably not the best idea, but wall of fire like between Stacy and Middleman.
So yeah, then I'd use the construct so that like so if this hand is the fire, then there's like a construct barrier behind it so Stacy doesn't get burned. I don't care about Middleman, of course.
That's good.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so then would you like to add a team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect, or clear a condition? Which?
I'll add a team to the pool.
Great. Amazing. Okay, so that's gonna be yeah, so that I'm gonna say I would like this wall of fire itself is the escalation. Like this has, Stacy's protected from it, but this is a big, this is a big, so it's between Stacy and on the mark, Stacy and Middleman, or both. Is it kind of walling you off from both enemies?
I imagine it's going like across the building and it's
Sure.
like me, Stacy, and the others are on the one side and Middleman's probably there too because we weren't like paying mind to him
Makes
at
sense.
the moment.
But on the mark is on the other side. Great. Yeah. So and Stacy, you feel, this blaze of heat goes up, but then a moment after you immediately feel yourself insulated by a construct as well. So you're helped out there. Okay, so great. So as you all kind of like, Middleman is kind of like starting to like get his bearings again. And he is going to look around at you all. He's still fully mic'd up. And he says, Nevermore and her accomplices. I should have known, but never fear, citizens of Halcyon City. I will engage and will leap into the fight. I think that he is going to like from his midriff, like he sort of like basically like he's doing like a crunch, like he like crunches in and then like extends outward, and like a boom of energy like expands out from there. I'm gonna have everybody take a powerful blow who's on the side here where Middleman is extending his powers.
I think Stacy would try to defend the group, but this seems like it's just a whole thing that everybody's getting into. So I'll just
7.
8.
8. Okay.
Well, I've been rolling high. That's a 10.
Great, great.
Yeah, that's an 8. An
All
8 for
right.
Stacy.
Raina?
I got an 8.
Awesome. Okay. So all of my 8 rollers, you choose one, lashing out verbally, which provokes a teammate to foolhardy action, or take advantage of your influence to inflict a condition. You can give ground, and your opposition gets an opportunity, or you struggle past the pain and mark 2 conditions. Stacy, I'm going to start with you. Which one of those things are you gonna do? Oh, can't hear you.
Muted.
Stacy will struggle. That seems on brand.
Great. Yeah. So Stacy's marking some conditions, struggling past the pain. Let's check in with Witch. What are you doing?
I think it's very important to keep these two separated right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna struggle past the pain. And we're gonna spend another burn to keep that moat up.
Cool. All right. So 2 people marking conditions. Raina, what's your conclusion?
I'm going to give ground.
Okay.
I don't think I was expecting this, and it just really knocked me out. Well, not out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Reina, you kind of like literally get like physically knocked back by this. It pushes you sort of away from your team and allows Middleman to get in between. So now you are physically separated from the rest of the group. And I think it's causing you, it hasn't gone down yet, but you have to focus more concentration now on Stacy's insulating construct. Lee, 10. You choose one between removing yourself from the situation by fleeing, passing out, etc., losing control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way, or 2 options from the 7 to 9 list. What would you be doing?
I mean, the most narratively interesting of the situation is to lose control of my powers in a terrible way, GM.
Yep. I have an idea for this that I would like to pose to you. The biggest way that you are using your powers right now is by keeping that construct of Lenore up. And I think as you take this like pain, I imagine that something that might happen is that the Lenore construct kind of starts to like shift and change and sort of like look a little bit like warped and mangled. And what this does is kind of turn the tide of the crowd below, looking and be like, oh my god, look at Nevermore, what's happening? Like it's some really evil manifestations look like they're coming out of Nevermore now. And as you're kind of like you're trying to get control of yourself, like you're trying to pull it back in, but it's like the more you try to contain it, the more the Lenore construct is just like spiraling out of control. And Middleman would use that opportunity and be like, yes, see her dark powers, they're are made manifest before you. How do you think Lee would respond if that's what we're saying happens here?
I mean, they know optics and everything, and there's only so much they're going to be able to do to sway the crowd. So they kind of like grit their teeth and try and stand just like a little firm and look at Middleman and like, hey, asshole. I don't think you fully understand what the hell is going on here. How does it feel to have your death used against you? Because Typhon is definitely not in it for protection. And God, if you're not just another sock puppet for him.
I think you know, it feels like you're trying to provoke him, but I think that he's not super susceptible to what you're saying right now. Like he's just had a big upsurge from the crowd. But he will just sort of like look at you and say, I don't think you understand. You look young, and when you've been a hero for as long as I have, you know that you'd do anything to get back to saving the city. And Typhon Pharmaceuticals provided me with the opportunity to do so, just continually hamming up to the crowd. The crowd now, you can tell, there was some question, some commotion that was going on here. They're back on Middleman's side. Like there's like a rush of people being like, yeah, Middleman, get him. And there's even like a surge of people being like, somebody save him. You can see in the distance, there are some heroes who are rushing into Middleman's defense. A lot of Halcyon City heroes. You can see anyone who's got advantage out of could see definitely the darlings are on their way in. You could see there are of course now I'm forgetting the name, Flashbang, a bunch of the kind of like even some of the older heroes, the ones who work with the police, the ones who work with the mayor's office, they're all flooding in, from different sides of the crowd, trying to get in on this fight. And that's when bursting out from within the crowd itself, from one section is a crowd of villains, a team of them known as the Gremlins, who just kind of start like attacking everybody and causing as much chaos as possible. You see that there is another team that are called the High Beams. They like pull out in cars, and they're like kind of flashing lights at people and blinding them. There's the Bamboozler, who starts throwing out magic cards and tricks and is not really doing that much to help. But right next to him is Adon, who is, clearly a lot more competent than his boss already. Like is, moving in with basically like military precision through the crowd, like taking out targets, like trying to get, the heroes, trying to disable them. You also see fighting alongside all of these villains is the Solstice, Team Solstice. You see that the Dusk and Dawn twins are using their respective powers to kind of like form a perimeter and trying to keep the heroes from progressing any further. High Noon, anytime that anyone is passing forward, is getting them into a duel and sort of making them fight them one-on-one, and just like, really just like keeping this from escalating. And you see Midnight, who is basically like also by the Dusk and Dawn twins, like literally building a physical perimeter out of like grabbing cars and just like, taking down like stairs from the side of fire escapes and like forming a barrier. So they're all working alongside the villains to make sure that this barrage of heroes doesn't get through. That's what you see at this moment in time. I want to check back in now. And as a reminder, Reina is kind of like off to the side, has been separated from the group. Everyone just took a big hit. Lee is like trying to get Middleman's provoked, but Middleman's not really listening. But now, Middleman's hit you with a big hit. On the Mark is separated from the group by some fire, but you're here. Middleman's here. What do the next panels show? How does this fight proceed from this point?
Oh, you got something, Mateo. Do you have something
Do I
to
have
say?
something?
Yeah, you look like you had something to say.
I was gonna
If you
say,
have something to say, go for it.
which is just like, I'm gonna keep on the market bay. Use go handle middleman.
Um, yeah, I think Stacy will look to the team and just be like going for the app cannon. Um, and I guess go to 1v1 Myopius and his abs. Is just trying to
Middleman.
like crunch the abs, find a way to just like break the cannon part so it doesn't
Yeah,
um so it
do
doesn't
that
fire
again.
anymore. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that's directly engaging a threat, and Middleman's going in like guns blazing. Like Middleman sees you running up and is like ready. But go ahead and roll plus danger to directly engage a threat.
All right, so that is gonna be a 5 + 1 for a 6.
Okay.
Team.
Team. Yes. All right. So what are you doing to add a team to the pool here?
Could me just like holding back the other guy count for that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think like on the mark's definitely trying to like actively get into this fight. Perhaps he's also kind of being like, middleman, hey, wait, if you let me, and distracting middleman a little bit from everything that's going on. So yeah, pick one from that list, Stacy. Resist or avoid blows, take something from them, create an opportunity, impress, surprise, or frighten.
Um, I'm going to create an opportunity for my allies.
Great. Um, so the opportunity that has here, first of all, you're going to take another powerful blow as, you have an exchange of blows here. Like, middleman is kind of like throws up a shield that blocks your first punch, but then is maneuvering around to try to hit you with another blast, and you're able to get you're an offside punch in, like you are tangling in the air here.
Yeah,
And
it's body shots. It's trying to mess up that app cannon.
yeah.
Uh,
And middleman is the opportunity that's created here is like middleman is thoroughly distracted, and also like not at all watching his back. Like he's not watching his six whatsoever. He is fully engaged in this battle with Stacy. So which is holding back on the mark? Lee or Raina, is there anything you see when you see this opportunity? What is it that you do? And Anita, Stacy, could you roll for taking a powerful blow concurrently, please?
So because I am also thrown, like I had been thrown back and everything, I kind of look at Carry On and be like, I like you got this, like kind of look as what I want to do, because one of my doom signs is I can take an adult move. And I'm going to stand up for something to address the crowd, address not just the people watching, but the heroes that are trying to come through, and be like, so this drug helped you become back alive. Look around. We, the refrigerators, have all come back to life. We've done it on our own with our own abilities. We didn't rely on drugs. We shouldn't even have to rely on anything. We shouldn't be dying for the carelessness of other heroes, or if we had each other's backs, if heroes are supposed to take care of each other, we're always infighting. They kind of like look at a glance at Solstice, because yeah, we're always infighting here with each other. Nothing's gonna get done. Halcyon City is never gonna change. This is not the right way. This We have to stand up for ourselves. We cannot rely on some miracle drug. What are we? Not Halcyons? And to try to get them to realize like he's just spewing snake oil.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll plus savior to stand up for something.
I rolled another 7, and I am once again struggling past the pain.
Woof. All right.
I got an 8.
8. Amazing. Okay. So you can choose one. Listeners can't keep doing what they're doing. Listeners can't flee without addressing you, or listeners can't attack you without you losing status or position.
So they can't keep doing what they're doing, which is fighting against us on this.
Yeah. That's great. Like I think the crowd really like is, your voice is amplified through this whole area is amplified enough that your voice is really like coming through the crowd. And the crowd stops cheering for Middleman, and they're like it's you could hear a murmur. People are like, oh, it's it's true, he's not the only one who's ever come back from the dead, and like yeah, maybe something more is going on here. So the crowd has now come back around to that same sense of confusion. Middleman's totally back is exposed as well to you, Lee. Is there an opportunity you take?
Because Lee is currently like their powers are going haywire
Yeah.
right now. So I don't think they have necessarily the opportunity to make the physical attack, but they are like kind of like on the ground, hands on pavement, on cement, trying to get like this illusion back under power, because they didn't mean for it to like stay up that long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be an unleash your powers move, because what I would want to do is like if this mirage illusion of Lenore is like morphing into like nightmares and kind of like going crazy, it just kind of starts almost glowing from like within. And because it seems people aren't realizing this is an illusion,
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of want to turn it to like it starts fading, like peeling back, and underneath it's like a younger Lenore, less like undamaged from her accident with Myopius and like the chemical vats and everything, and focus it towards Middleman, like
Yeah, sure.
crying, why are you making me do this? You died, you came back wrong, you are forcing this to happen.
Incredible. Okay. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers to extend the illusion in this way.
That's plus freak, right?
Plus freak. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a 10.
A 10?
Yeah, I don't get any pluses to that. So that's a 6.
I mean, a 10's great. A 10 means you do it. So you focus all of your energy. You're kind of like, you're on the ground. You focus in on this illusion. As soon as Middleman starts to hear this, he looks over at the younger Lenore, seems really, really shaken by it. And he says, like under his breath, almost as if he has like, the kind of psychic draw of your illusion has made him forget about the crowd around. Says
still
like,
mic'd up.
yeah, right. Says like, I was ready to retire, when the incident happened with it was hard for me too, and I tried to tell you that, but of course every time I did, I just got that withering stare. But like, I had to choose whether to save you or a train full of people. But did you care about that part? No. You said it's all well and good that I did what I had to do, but that you wouldn't be able to look at me the same way again. love me the same way again. I lost my future wife that day, but what's worse is that it wasn't really Myopius who took her from me. I just wanted a chance to start again. I didn't want my story to be tainted by that anymore. I wanted a new one. Is that so bad?
Try eHarmony, dude. This is too much.
He will turn back around to you, Stacy, when you say this. You've got a direct opening here. You can punch him out. Like you can do it. You have never been more sure of anything. This man is not expecting. This man's not ready to put a shield up. What is it that you do?
Stacy's looking rough. Like, and
Got you, girl.
yeah, she's like really just like she's been beat up by this very experienced adult hero. She's been covered with like heat and plasma and lasers. She's going to run up and just try to put her fist through his cannon.
Cold cock him.
You smack him. This isn't your cold cock. This is what you do. You're not unleashing your powers. This is what you're made for. He's not expecting it. You slam him right in the midriff, and basically, like, it looks like he's not a robot, but it basically looks like he powers down. Like it's just like shoo, and he slams against like a wall in the back, just kind of like hunched over. Done. Out of the fight. The immediate next thing that happens is you hear on the mark, Alice, who is still behind your firewall, who pulls out a weapon and is shooting it like has it directly pointed at you and says, I have had enough of you ruining my plans.
Moment of truth time. She looks him like dead in the eye, like not even flinching at the gun, says, won't you just shut up for once? And so my moment of truth, your mind's eye opens and you can see the world around you like never before. You can control it at will with ease. Of course, warping reality tends to have ramifications down the line, but in your moment of godhood, how could you possibly be worried? So this wall turns into like a circle of fire surrounding both of them, like she's inside of it. Her eye patch burns off and she like vines come out and start wrapping him up. And she says, you were supposed to be my friend and you betrayed me. I didn't ruin anything. You did that. And the vines pull him down onto the ground and she like shoots a little water on his face while he's on like lying down. Says, you're no hero and I should kill you for that, but I am. And the flames subside and she like lowers from like her like vine stance and she turns around, leaving him wrapped up. Says, your time is over. And just walks back to the team.
We have that final shot, and then the next panel is just black. And then there's a panel after that, several panels actually, that take place all over Halcyon City, where many people are watching the exact same video. Some are gathered in groups around a phone in the dorms at Haltech. Others are like putting in headphones while they're strolling through the artisans workshop downtown, all over the place. Every speech bubble out of every device says the same thing. The HCPD put out their latest in a series of statements addressing the confrontation in front of Typhon Tower last week. They've confirmed a mass conspiracy, initially identified by the hero team known as the Defrigerators, between Middleman and several Typhon Pharmaceuticals executives to fraudulently claim Middleman's death at the hands of a false flag supervillain while actually injuring dozens of villains and heroes in the process. The HCPD have stated that while investigations are ongoing, they believe the motive to be a career resurgence for Middleman and his associate, Kieran Cadwell, aka On the Mark, and financial gain for Typhon Pharmaceuticals, who expected a massive increase in share prices when Middleman's resurgence, thanks to their patented super serum, was revealed. Tragically, some victims of the conspiracy, whose powers were tied integrally to their life force, lost their lives permanently. But most of the injured victims have successfully had their powers and health restored with a halcyonium antidote engineered by Elspeth Mason. More details to come soon. I'm Guadalupe Schaefer Santos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There is one place in Halcyon City, though, where Lupe's broadcast isn't playing. In Bits and Bytes, that rundown old arcade, it's the busiest it's ever been. Embry is playing DDR, sweating through their vintage Garfield t-shirt. Liam McKay and Lenore Caldwell are in a corner, locked in an intense skee ball competition. Adon is in front of one of those coin pusher machines, very clearly like using one arm to try to tilt the money out in his favor. Stacey, your parents are leaning against the prize counter with tickets in hand in an intense discussion about plushies. Aaliyah is sitting in a booth across from the Dusk and Dawn twins, all of whom are kind of like chowing down on a pizza that the old lady somehow pulled from a kitchen in the back that's apparently been there the whole time. And the old lady, Kendra, she's happily bustling about this place, nagging at people to not put their sodas on the machine where it's going to leave a ring, and doting on a dark-haired young man in the corner who's chilling, just like in a transport wheelchair and kind of like waving off his mom at every opportunity. Where are you all in this scene? Stacey, let's start with you.
It's so loud out here, Mo. This is a lot that's happening. I feel like for a couple of panels, like Stacy is trying to be social, trying to be like out and about. I feel like that might be like for most of us, but like most of us, we're not. I'll speak for myself. Stacy is not very used to parties, and I think I think there'll be some panels of like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm famous now. That's so wild. Like everybody's celebrating, it's a good time, but she is going to slip out, and probably just like jump and get on the roof, get some air, look out over the city, because everything is different now, and that's really wild. But that's where you find Stacy after some panels. I'm not sure where everybody else is.
Raina, how about you? Where are you in this scene?
I think I have been like she is used to parties. She's used to different types of parties, but she is used to parties. So I think she was like doing the rounds of like, hey, how everybody's doing. Kind of being like almost like the hostess, even though I don't think she's come to Bits and Bytes that often before. But I think she keeps like hovering around Adon because like she's still so awkward. And I think like she's staring at him like attempting to do the whole money thing and just thinking that's endearing. And I think she gets like a sense of like panic for a second and has like those memories she's not thinking of them as much anymore, but those memories pop up for a minute of like the future and everything. And now she doesn't know what it's going to be like. Everything's changed so much. And um I think she's just like, doesn't matter. I'm not that person anymore. I don't have to be Kaida Reina. I could be another kind of Reina. And goes towards Adon like with no hesitation anymore. And having a
Uh,
feeling like everything from before is gone.
yeah. And when you walk up to Adon, like he kind of like, he's got that a look on his face too. You could tell like it's kind of apprehension, but it's also kind of acceptance, like there's a little bit of both. And as you approach, he'll like, like remove his hand from the inside of the coin pusher and just be like, oh hey, do you want to try? Yeah, just kind of smile at you. Let's go to Lee next. Lee, what's up with you?
Well, they've obviously been um letting Embry face off against them playing DDR. And there's probably like several wins on the board under Lee's name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think this is probably like one of the later ones in the day. And there is a moment that is only seen by like the panel where like towards the end of whatever song it is, Lee just kind of like steps off the machine to let Embry finish up and like just kind of like ticks their number over just enough. And like think like as Lee like steps off the machine, there's like a zoom in on like a magazine or like a newspaper that they step on that's like the Darling Defender and family leave Halcyon City. No notes on their interaction with anything like that. Just Lee's foot, their boot, and then them just kind of like leaning up against the machine patiently and expectantly.
Um, Embry like finishes the song like in like a complete sweat and says, "Oh my God, I'm never gonna. I did. I won. I won. I won that one. I did it. I beat you."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, hey, so I beat you at DDR.
Mm-hmm. You did.
I believe we had an arrangement.
Thanks. So you want to remind me of that?
Um, and they say, "Yeah, I think I can refresh your memory," and they will lean down and kiss you for the first time.
Yeah, and it just kind of like moves off on that.
Amazing. Uh, Alice, where are you?
I imagine Alice is there for like the very first time in like regular clothes, like not trying to be like super discreet. Probably doesn't look as tired anymore. A new eye patch that is like a trans flag eye patch that I imagine someone from Thaw made her. Um, if they're there, I think Alice would be talking to the two sisters from Thaw.
Yeah,
Um, the one that they met at the hospital and
yeah,
just checking in on that and seeing if like how if their powers are back yet and like talking about that like experience of like losing their powers and then fighting to get them back.
yeah. Cadence and Harvey are here. There's definitely like some tension between the sisters as we see Alice talking to them. Like, they both seem Harmony, who is the one who is at the hospital, seems physically healed. Like her powers seem to be back, but Cadence's are not. I think there's a brief panel exchange where Harmony says, "No, yeah, the Halcyonium antidote works really well, and I think I have to do a little bit more, vocal cord therapy, but I should be fine. And Cadence just kind of like is looking over and says, I'm happy for you. And Lenore will kind of like look over as you're talking to them and sort of like smile at you, Alice, and give you sort of like a, little thumbs up from across the room.
Alice will pull the older sister aside for a second and just be like, hey, just make sure she knows she's loved and make sure she knows she's important to you, and you'll be fine.
Thanks. And with that, Stacy, you're up on the roof kind of by yourself as this scene sort of draws to a close, but you kind of get the last view out over Halcyon City, the last sort of panel. As there always is with the view over the city, there's like a couple superheroes who are dotting the skyline. They're they're clearly like flying. They might even just be flying to their normal workday. There are no big battles. There's no lights showing up in the sky. It's just a normal day in this very abnormal city. And as we pull away from Bits and Bytes one last time, there's a couple final panels of you all, sort of talking to each other, encountering each other as you move through the arcade. You all, look a little different from the first time that we saw you all, a little bit more confident in some cases, but in others, perhaps even a bit more unsure. But it's with these panels of you all, someone going outside and waving at Stacy from the roof, two people, shooting hoops next to each other at one of those arcadey basketball things, that we will close our issue and this particular chapter of the Freezerburnt story. I want to thank you all, my wonderful cast and our wonderful audience, for joining us so much. This has been such a lovely, lovely time, and I'm so sad to say goodbye, but it's time to do so. So, Anita, why don't you start our final outro by telling our lovely viewers a little bit more about you, a little bit more about where they can find you.
Hey everybody, Anita here, at Anita the Lesbian on Twitter and TikTok. Yeah, I've been Stacy Jane. You can find me over at Elliot Andrews Productions, Infinity City. Season 2 is releasing, I think, every other Saturday. So come through. Listen if you want to hear more masks. That's been me. I pass it to Mateo.
Hello, I'm Mateo. You may know me around as the Milk Boy. I'm at Certified Milk Boy everywhere except for Twitter. That's certified with a Y. I make RPGs. That's my trade of choice. So if you want to check out my itch.io for my game Camp Cryptid, version 2 of that is coming soon, and I have some other games in the works that are coming. With that, I will pass that to Alice.
Hi guys, I'm Alice, she, they pronouns. You can find me pretty much everywhere online at Alice Hart, except for Twitter, in which case that has already been taken from me, and you can find me at Hellion Hart. All of my social media, though, is on alicehart.cards, CARRD.co, along with my itch.io and the where you can find me most regularly, which is Welcome to Reddington, which is a Monster of the Week actual play podcast by Feathered Greek Productions. I am a producer and editor for the show. I'm also one of 15 players. Depending on when you're listening to this, we have either just released an episode or will be this coming weekend. This has been such a joy. And I will once again, for the last time for the series, pass it over to Diana.
Hello, everybody. I am Diana Moon. I use she, her pronouns. You can still find me on Twitter for now, and Blue Sky at Diana Moon, and on YouTube and Twitch at X Diana Moon X, or on Sundays on Nerdgasm Noir Twitch with the Reclaimers and all POC TTRPG actual play. We're pretty regularly on Sundays West Coast time from 6 to 8 p.m. This was fantastic. I loved it. Y'all are awesome. I'm going to say that because I get to because I'm the last one. Ha ha ha. And I take it back to Allie.
I am Allie. I have been your game master for this wonderful series. Couldn't have asked for a better time for better players. Had an absolute blast, a emotionally devastating blast, but a blast nonetheless. You can find me at Allie_Yakta_est on most social media. I work in the video game industry, so I sometimes talk about that on social media. And you can also find me alongside Anita as One Up the Janice on Elliot Andrews Productions Masks podcast, Infinity City. If you want to get more Masks content from me. A few last little reminders before we go. We had such a fun time telling this story. If you want to tell your own story, please submit something to the creator app for Girls Run These Worlds. There is so many amazing stories that I know that you have in your heart that if you want to tell them, please tell them. Submit. Also, if you want to ensure that content like this continues to get made and that the people who put in the work to make it get fairly paid, you can follow Girls Run These Worlds on Twitch and Twitter. Throw a Twitch subscription our way. You can renew your free Prime subscription if you got one of those. Drop us a couple bucks on Ko-fi. All of those things go to the incredible cast and the incredible team to get them paid for their work. You can also check out girlsruntheseworlds.com for merch if you've been admiring the mug that I've been using. It's a GRTW, haters are vulnerable to radiant damage, and a solid mug also. There's other merch. There's a fantastic collection of zines that you can check out. So do it to it. With that, that is the end of this one chapter in the Freezerburnt story. This has been such a lovely time. I thank you all so much for joining us. And for the last time, farewell and goodbye.
Bye.